Hello, everyone. This is author, motivational speaker, and dating coach Matthew C. Horne, and I bring you a video tonight titled, Why Your Woman Ends Up in His Backseat. I got one for you tonight. But before we go any further, always know my videos in the dating space, they're inspired by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available on my website, www.matthewchorne.com. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. But without further ado, why your woman ends up in his backseat. This is a message that had to get out tonight. It's something that I've been inspired to share, and that's all I can really say. I want to get this up the best way that I know how. And it was inspired by a few different factors. You know, I've had coaching calls with gentlemen who were treating different women differently. They had a stable of women who were checking for them the same exact way that they were checking for these women, offered themselves to the men, gave them an exact reflective experience that the man was giving to her. And that was his actual dating pool. And then, you know, in conjunction with that, due to some recent and, experiences in the past as well, and just some overall observations I've been making, I thought about the concept of backseat sex. And a lot of times, the backseat sex is literal and it's figurative. It's literal in terms of when a woman sees a man that she's extremely sexually attracted to, her reality is suspended, and she immediately creates a space for sex to happen. And a lot of times, wherever you meet that woman, it's a matter of minutes and it's a matter of moments before the sex takes place. Now, a lot of men don't know about this side of the coin, and that's perfectly fine, but it's a real space and place that exists when a woman is that sexually attracted to you that within minutes, you all are in a backseat having sex. And it's also figurative because the same thing happens, where the woman accommodates and creates a space to have sex with the man that she's extremely sexually attracted to. But it may not necessarily happen right there on the spot in the back seat. It may be a thing of, it's just an immediate space that's created. Maybe you go back to her place, your place, maybe she's at a hotel, maybe she follows you back to your place, whatever the case is. The premise is that sex happens quickly. When a woman is extremely sexually attracted to a man, sex happens immediately. And this is a side of the coin that I have to emphasize because it's very important in terms of you understanding this and you exercising your eye and your discipline to choose the right woman. Because the worst thing that I want for a man that's under the sound of my voice to experience is he chooses a woman who did not choose him or who chose him for the wrong reasons. And in essence, she never fully chose him because he will be the victim of his woman ending up in the backseat of another man. Because the man that she ends up in the backseat with is the representation of her first choice. And the man that is her first choice, that's the one that is a detriment and a threat to the man who did not love himself enough or who didn't have an awareness of himself enough to recognize that the woman across from him that he chose did not choose him in the same manner. She will end up in the backseat of another man that she deems her first choice. And that's a very dangerous space and place that I do not want the men who watch my channel to end up in. But it's an inevitable space if you do not choose a woman who's choosing you for the right reasons. If you choose a woman that you're so enamored with because of how she looks, and you stay with her long enough and you fall in love, and at best, she learns to love you. At best. And the desire is mismatched. You're in love with her, and she loves you at best. These are the women that end up in the backseat of another man. And I had to, bring this concept to light because I thought about all of the women that I had that backseat encounter with and how right on cue, a very large majority of them had husbands or they had boyfriends. And a lot of times I didn't find out until after the fact. Just thinking like back in the day, I found out that a particular woman that I had that backseat encounter with, I found out she had a husband when she was giving her husband a tribute on Facebook one day, not too long after we had our encounter. I was like, oh man. I was like, this is a real thing. And then other times I've met up with women and as soon as we got together, it was backseat action, just like that. Couldn't contain her lust. We got right to it. And then I find out the next time I see her, she just lets it come out. Oh yeah, I'm married, by the way. I'm like, man. And this thing keeps happening. And I'm just having these experiences, even up to present day, where women are literally pulling me out of spots. I'm talking, trying to have a regular conversation, and they're giving me that look. And I'm telling them, like, if you keep looking at me, you know what's going to happen. And next thing I know, it's a backseat situation within minutes and moments. You all need to understand how fast sex happens, man. You cannot police the vagina of a woman that you're dealing with. If she wants to stray, she is going to stray. And that's why you have to develop yourself into a masculine man so that your world is always balanced, so that you don't have to police the pussy of the girl that you're involved with, man. You're already in a fear-based stance, and nothing good comes from a fear-based stance. A fear-based stance is created because you're inadequate in terms of being a match for the level of the woman that you desire in terms of her beauty. With different levels of beauty come different realities, man. As a masculine man, all women look the same, but if you have not fully embraced masculinity and operating in masculinity, then women, they're going to look different, and you're going to overextend yourself to get into their space. And the situation, if she decides to stay, is automatically imbalanced. So yeah, the more youthful, beautiful women that most men want, yeah, they're getting prime offerings from men. It doesn't always translate to compatibility, but they're getting women choose with their eyes. So they're getting the most attractive men coming for them. And you have to be one of those men so that she can choose you with her eyes and eventually choose you with her heart. But if she doesn't choose you with her eyes and she remains in your space, you're in no man's land. You're on borrowed time until her lust overtakes her and she's in the backseat of a man who's a representation of her first choice. And that's why I had to make this. So tonight's focus is going to be swimming in your dating pool, exercising the discipline to change your dating pool, and the dangers of swimming outside of your dating pool. So to swim in your dating pool is to accept the women who lust and desire you without an offering being present. To accept the women who lust and desire you and view you as the offering, and they do not require an offering from you. This is your actual dating pool. This is the woman who will be satisfied with you because she offers herself to you as soon as she meets you. This is your dating pool, and do not swim outside of it. You will be devastated. You will be betrayed. Your wife, your woman will end up in another man's backseat. I promise you that. So you want to have an eye for the women who offer themselves to you as soon as you two meet, meaning that she's not making things difficult. She's ingratiating herself into your space with minimal effort, and she views you as her primary and first choice, meaning that instinctively you know that she's not going to be looking around you with one eye open for her first choice, that she will gladly hop into his backseat. This is the woman that you want to embrace. It's the woman that sees you exactly the way that you see yourself. And more importantly, she's giving you the exact experience that you're giving to her. You are a representation of her first choice. And this is the woman that is a representation of you swimming in your dating pool. And you notice you're in your dating pool because she offers herself to you. And she lets you know with no room for misinterpretation that you are her first choice. That you are an adequate enough offering with nothing in the material world to compensate for her lack of attraction to and desire for you. This is your dating pool. And you need to swim in your dating pool. There's a penalty that you will pay as soon as you designate a woman as different than the other women. Once you designate her as out of your dating pool, now you're coming to her with bended knee, openly acknowledging that you are not enough. You have not evolved into the man that can capture her eye. She has to choose you with her eyes initially. And so you come to her offering her trips, trinkets, gifts, offerings as soon as you meet her. And now she understands the dynamic that you've established. The dynamic is that you're telling her, you are more valuable than me. I am not enough, and accept these bribes and offerings to enter my space and possibly stay there. That dynamic is off because you would have not felt the need to give her an offering unless she was giving you resistance in terms of how you wanted her to function in your space as soon as you met her. You wouldn't have had to give her an offering. You would not have had the inclination and the instinct to give her an offering if you did not pick up on the energy that she was out of your dating pool. She did not choose you with her eyes. The offering is a compensation for her lack of attraction to and desire for you. And the minute that you are inclined to give a woman an offering, you're setting yourself up for devastation and betrayal if she decides to stay. And so you have to be very conscious of the concept of the offering that I'm talking about. The woman who's in your dating pool, you are the offering. There's nothing in the material world that she's going to require from you to compensate for her lack of desire and attraction to you. Okay, so we'll move on to exercising the discipline to change your dating pool. And some of you want a woman who's more attractive than the women who have been viewing you as their first choice. And there's nothing wrong with that. We don't fully know ourselves until we've pushed our depths of self-development, until we've pushed our depths of masculinity, until we push the depths of personal transformation. And when you push your depths, you become a new man. You become a man that is operating in the fullness of himself, his potential, and his masculinity. And when you become that man, now you fully understand yourself because the potential of you spoke to you until you exercise the discipline to maximize yourself and be introduced to your true self. Until you push the boundaries of your potential and your discipline, you're never going to truly know yourself. And you can't gauge your match until you fully embrace yourself through discipline and you get to know your true self, your optimal self. That's when you can gauge everything around you with clarity. You can gauge everything around you with clarity because exercising discipline means you give a fuck about yourself. If you bring a woman into an imbalanced situation where she is the prize, she is the object of your affection and your desire, you bring that woman into your space, you're going to love her more than you love yourself because you don't adequately love yourself. And you can't truly love a woman the way you're supposed to until you love yourself above her because you were designed to govern and lead her. So the woman is in an unsafe space. She's entering your space based on incentives. And she knows you're not a safe space where she can rest her head because you put her above you. And she knows in order to adequately lead her, that cannot be the case. You can love her with every fervor and fiber of your being, but ultimately, you're going to give her the opportunity to choose you every day the same way that you choose her if you love yourself. And if that woman knows that you don't give a fuck about yourself and that you're weak for her, she's headed to the backseat of another man. She's headed to the backseat. You are on borrowed time before you experience betrayal and devastation. Before you're one of those men where your wife is crying those crocodile tears when she gets caught. And she's saying she'll never do it again. And she's desperate. And she's threatening you. I'm going to take take the kids away from you, and blah, 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 blah. And she's forcing you to stay. She's forcing you to stay. And she knows that you shouldn't be there. She knows you should leave. But she's trying to force you to stay because she's gambling on the reality that you do not love yourself. And you don't love yourself above you loving her. She's gambling on the imbalance that you gave her and that you accepted when you went further with her, when you first met her, when you knew that she did not desire you the same way that you desired her. Just because there's nuptials, just because there's a title of a relationship, does not mean that imbalance is going to disappear from her mind. Women understand imbalance. It does not disappear. It only increases in fervor if you cross the line with her, if you stay with her long enough, because she's so bad, she's so beautiful, and you fall in love with her. And she understands that she couldn't get the men that she wanted, and you're the safe space. That's the imbalance, and that's the mismatch. And you're in a trick bag if she decides to stay in your space long enough to get into a relationship or a marriage. She did not forget about the imbalance. That's why the disrespect gets worse, because she knows you don't respect yourself, and you're in a trick bag. But exercising the discipline to elevate yourself as a man, sometimes this awareness happens after you engage in an imbalanced situation. Sometimes masculinity calls your name and brings you to a channel like mine. And you might be in the midst of a situation where it's imbalanced. But masculinity is calling your name. That discipline is calling your name to change your dating pool, to change your reality, to change your circumstance. And discipline is nothing more than a concerted effort in the same direction to create a better outcome. That's discipline. And once you exercise discipline long enough, then your discipline will now become your practice. And once discipline becomes your practice, and you practice discipline, now you're entering into a new lifestyle. That's when your identity changes. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And sometimes this renewal takes place in the space of a relationship that you've engaged in that is imbalanced. And at this point, as you're making your improvements, you don't throw it in the woman's face and tell her what she needs to do to stay in your space. You don't do that. The unspoken conversation of your ascension and your discipline and your new lifestyle, that's going to speak to her. She's going to be able to see that something is different. She's going to be able to check your blind spots and see that women are responding to you differently now. They're responding to you differently because you give a fuck about yourself now. You actually love yourself. You loved yourself enough to not settle for the inferior agreement that you initiated when you accepted her inferior treatment of you that did not match the desire that you had for her. You're bettering yourself. The world is responding to you differently. Beautiful women have a twinkle in their eye when they see you now. And she felt safe in your space because she checked your blind spots. She saw how other women were reacting to you. Other women were giving you blank stares. And now as you're ascending and you're improving, and discipline is now your identity and your lifestyle, now women are looking at you with a twinkle in their eye. And women can look in the eye of another woman and understand the look of lust. Because even though your woman never had that look of lust for you, she can identify the look of lust that other women are having for you because she knows the look of lust that she has for the men that she's attracted to. And so now she's checking your blind spots and assessing your value. Check my previous video. She's checking your blind spots and assessing your value. I go much deeper into it. And now you're having an unspoken conversation with her. The world is responding to you differently. Your discipline and the consistency of your discipline has ascended you. You're in a new reality. You graduated. You're graduating into masculinity, meaning that balance is restored. The balance that should have been in place when you initially met her is now introduced into the space, and now she has to make a decision and contend with the new reality and the new man that is you. And so she has a choice to make. She has a choice to make. And this is the third point. Swimming outside of your dating pool. Once you make the decision to enhance yourself through discipline, to love yourself through focus, and through accepting yourself and wanting better for yourself and not being in delusion, then now she has a decision to make. Because a man who thinks that he can get a different result without exercising discipline is delusion. He's a delusional man. A delusional man wants a fantasy reality that is not a fantasy outcome that does not align with his present reality. That is a delusional man. That man's life is in flux. That man is not stable because he has not embraced the reality that he needs a vision for his life and for himself to guide him to higher heights of masculinity and identity. So that delusional man is the man that she fell for. That delusional man tolerated her disrespect and turned a blind eye. That delusional man wanted to show her off because he didn't understand that he is to show peace. That's the delusional man. That's the man that she remembers. But as you elevate, your reality is renewed. So her perception of you has to be renewed or she has to go. And so only two things are going to happen when you improve yourself to this degree. She's going to fall in love with you because masculinity is in her presence. She was used to delusion. She was used to femininity. She was used to letting her walk all over you. That's what she was used to. You were a comfortable space. But as you ascend and you exercise the discipline and you change, now she's in an uncomfortable position where she has to shit or get off the pot because other women who look just as good as her or more beautiful, have more going for themselves, are checking for you. And a lot of times as you're developing into this man and your mind is being renewed and you're changing, you can't even fully inhale the new response that you're getting from the world and from other beautiful women. But guess what? She knows the look of lust because she had that look of lust for the men that she ended up in their back seat. She knows the look of lust. So she's checking your blind spots that you can't see. And she sees a new value. Now her crossroads is she going to accept the new man and is she going to revere and love the new man that you've become? So your reality is changing and your relationship has to change through her acceptance of the new man that you've become. And since you've ascended, you can see things from a higher height and you have more clarity. And so everything is unspoken. You can see if she's accepting the new you. You can see her over time and see if she has a renewed reverence for you that's in alignment with the man that you've become. And if she doesn't, you're trapped. Ignorance was bliss before because you did not love yourself. But clarity is apparent and it's key because you love yourself now and everything is apparent. All of the cards are on the table. That's why I said she has to shit or get off the pot. She has to recognize and revere the new man that you've become, or she has to go. And you don't have to force her out because masculinity means that your world is in balance, meaning that you will have an internal turmoil because of the new awareness that you have of yourself if the woman in your life does not have a renewed perception of who you are. And so masculinity will balance everything out. But she can stay as long as her perception of you aligns with the renewed man that you are. Even the Bible speaks of, in biblical days, you couldn't put new wine in old skins. They used to store wine in skins, and the skins would explode because of the residue of the old wine versus the newness and the invigoration of the new wine. It would explode because the two didn't mix. And your life is going to explode if you try to mix the two. Her mind has to be renewed. Her treatment of you has to be elevated. Her recognition of you in terms of the new man that you are has to be exact, or else you're not going to have peace. And so that will work itself out. And if she fights the new man that you're becoming, oh, why are you getting your hair cut so much? Why are you going to the gym? Why are you going for that promotion? Why are you starting your own business? Why are you going to the Chamber of Commerce and networking and elevating yourself? Why are you trying to get that new contract? These are the things, these are the symptoms of the man that loves himself. His internal awareness is creating a new external reality. These are the symptoms of the man that loves himself. And if the woman in your life fights it, it's because she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too. She wants the old conditions where you were ignorant to your own greatness. She wants the conditions that you can be the safety net. You can be the bill payer. You can be the consistent good man in her life. You can be the man that watches the kids while she goes out and searches for the backseat of the man that is a representation of the man that she really wants. She's comfortable with that man if she cannot treat the new man that you are in accordance with the new man that you become. She wants you there, but you're no longer there. And if she has a problem with you developing, that means she wants you in a weak position that you can be manipulated, used, and eventually discarded. And nothing good comes from that. Absolutely nothing. So as you renew your mind, as you elevate, as you hit the new milestones of masculinity, as you create a new identity and discipline becomes your lifestyle, you become a brand new man. She's either on board or she's not. She's going to shit or get off the pot. And it's really that simple. She has to have an awareness, a renewed awareness of you that's aligned with the new man that you've become. And if she has an issue with it, if she fights it, she's trying to bring you back to the old man that you were before you made the renewing of your mind. You forget those things that are in your past. Forgetting those things that are behind, and you press toward the mark. That's what renewing the mind is. You're pressing toward the mark. The mark is masculinity calling your name and the subsequent discipline that you implement to create a new man. That's the mark. And if she has a problem with you pressing toward the mark, my friend, you have a decision to make. You have some real decisions that you have to make. I was compelled to give you this message tonight. It overwhelmed me, it overtook me. I never thought about a concept of the backseat and just how consistent, how right on cue, a lot of those women would disappear right after. And you find out, oh my goodness, they were married. But you're not that man. You're in the sound of my voice. You better try something different, man. Try some discipline. Try some self-love, man. Understand that your perspective of any woman has to change if you're going to adequately lead her, and she's going to come into your space the right way, viewing you as the gift. You're the gift because you're the designated leader. And if you give her an offering, you automatically designate her as the leader, and she was never meant to lead. You're signing up for chaos and destruction. So that's all I had to say tonight, man. This has been Matthew C. Horne, author, motivational speaker, and dating coach. Bring you a video tonight titled, Why Your Woman Ends Up in His Backseat. It's brought to you by my books, How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want from Life, in addition to How to Be Appealing to Successful Black Men for Black Women. They're both available on my website, www.matthewchorne.com. get your copies. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and to continue to push me with the algorithm so I can continue to bring you these elevated messages. And if you want me to make a custom video on a particular topic, make a donation of $50 or more to my PayPal or my Cash App that's in my video description. In the note on PayPal or Cash App, because there's a note feature when you make your donation, leave the topic that you want me to talk about, and I will put a video on my channel in 24 hours or less of your requested topic. If your requested topic is more in-depth than just making a note on PayPal or Cash App, email me at matt@matthewchorne.com after you've made your donation, and leave your more in-depth description of what you want me to make your video about, and it will be on my page, my channel, Matthew C. Horne Dating in 24 hours or less. And if this video tonight has been of value to you, if your thought process has been elevated and your awareness has been expanded and you understand that you are better for having encountered my message, make a donation of $50 or more, or I'm sorry, make whatever donation you want to make to my donation information that's in my PayPal and my Cash App and my video description. Have I impacted you? Just give accordingly, man. I'm never going to put a dollar amount on it. And if you're in need of coaching, if my voice resonates with you and I'm your man, and you understand that I'm the man that can take you to the desired place that you want to be in life, in this dating game, and everywhere in between, contact me at matt@matthewchorne.com. Leave dating in the subject matter of the email. Just go ahead and email me and leave your name, your phone number, and whatever issue that you're facing in the dating space that you would like to overcome. I will do an assessment, get right back to you with the answers, and I will get back to you with the terms of the coaching. Tell you exactly what we're going to accomplish, and then the coaching will begin immediately as soon as you accept the terms. And I have an additional tier that I'm offering until all of the spaces fill up. I'm offering 5 individuals 1 year's worth of customized mentorship and coaching. It's going to be different for every person because I'm going to do an assessment of where you are and where you're trying to get to. Now, the coaching calls are very instrumental. Everyone's getting their breakthroughs, their answers. But if you want a more in-depth level, a deeper level of mentorship, this is what I'm talking about right here. I'm looking for 5 individuals to just go ahead and reach out to me. Email me at matt@matthewchorne.com. I'm looking for 5 individuals who are looking to undertake a year-long journey to get some customized mentorship and coaching that's going to take you into the depths of masculinity and change your life forever for the better. I've enjoyed spending some time with you tonight. And please understand, you have to be the optimal choice. If you want your choices to look different, you have to exercise discipline. You have to explore the depths of masculinity if you're ever going to truly know yourself. You don't know yourself until you push the boundaries of self-development, until you push the boundaries of self-love and masculinity. That's when you come into the fullness of who you are. And when you come into the fullness of who you are, you're going to be seeing the world and you're going to be seeing women from the highest vantage point because you've elevated to that space. That space brings clarity. Clarity brings clear choices, imbalanced choices. And then you will be the object of that right woman's affection. She will never look around you. You'll never have anything in the back of your mind because she views you in accordance with your optimal self. I'll see you soon.